On this episode of TFL Off-Road, it's Toyota versus Ford versus Ram versus snowy blizzard in Colorado. I'm gonna show you exactly how each four-wheel drive system does accelerating up a snowy mountain road, and also how the tires do, and also how the trucks stop, and if I can prevent myself from careening down the mountain. All that is coming up right now. The brand new Toyota Tundra is first up, and this is the new 2022 Toyota Tundra TRD off-road package. I'm gonna use my trusty cones. I'm gonna place them on an uphill snowy mountain road. I'm gonna show you acceleration, actually two accelerations and one braking test, and see how much control I have. It's riding on these 20-inch wheels and these Wildpeak AT all-terrain AT3WA tires. Here in the Tundra, I'm going to show you exactly how I have it set up. My drive mode selector is right here, and I'm in 4 high. For 2022, Toyota Tundra does not offer 4-wheel drive automatic mode, but 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low are available. And I'll be in normal mode at first. I also have multi-terrain select when I'm in drive, so my second acceleration will be in deep snow mode. You might be saying, this is a tire test. Yes, it is. I have 3 different tire manufacturers I'm going to show you in this video, starting with Falken. Then I also have Pirelli on the Ford, and I have a Goodyear on the Ram, and I'll show you that later. But it's also, I want to show you how the truck actually behaves in the snow while it's snowing, and we have fresh snow here in the mountains. This Tundra is relatively heavy. It weighs around 5,800 pounds the way it is. But let me set up my cones right here. Okay, so let me get the cones out so you can visually see exactly the distance I'm going, and then I'm gonna floor it. So here's my first cone, here at the beginning where the truck is, and I'll put the second cone up here. And we're getting some fresh snow here at the end of January in the Colorado Rockies. Okay, so the whole point of this, I'm gonna kind of mash the throttle in normal mode without changing any other modes. So traction control enabled, and you'll be able to see on the screen in real time exactly how long it takes for me to accelerate. Okay, ready guys? I'm gonna go for it. Okay, that was actually fairly impressive acceleration in normal mode from the Tundra. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do about 20 miles per hour to hopefully 0 braking test between the cones. Let's check it out. I don't know if you could see that, but that was about less than 20 miles an hour. That was about 18 miles an hour to nothing. And this is a long distance. You can kind of see the wheels and how much they slid right here, even within, a couple miles per hour. So yeah, while acceleration works pretty good, the braking, especially downhill in the snow, just the gravity usually wins. Here's from the bumper to the cone. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 8 feet of space left. And let me show you exactly what the distance I went. 69, 70, 71. Woo, that's a long distance from about 18 miles an hour down to stopped with 8 feet to the cone in front of me. Take a look guys, I went to deep snow mode and I have the snowflakes. Alright, let's see if it's any different, because the traction control is relaxed. Let's see if it'll behave differently. Okay, that was a bit more violent. As you could probably tell, the wheels, I had a lot more wheel spin because the traction control system is relaxed because it's thinking I'm in deeper snow. And I think the speed was actually similar as far as accelerating up the snowy hill. I would prefer the normal mode in this condition with this type of snow because it was a little bit less drama and I was more straight going up the mountain. Now it's the Ford's turn. In this case, it's this 2021 Ford F-150 hybrid. Because it's an XL work truck, it's a 17-inch steel wheel and it's wearing Pirelli Scorpion ATR tires. Now let me show you what four-wheel drive controls I have. Just like that Tundra, I do not have four-wheel drive auto. If this was another model of the F-150, that button and selection would be down here. I don't have it. This is a more simple system. I have 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. I am in 4 high. And this is my drive mode selector. I'll be in normal at first, and then I'm gonna show you also my deep snow mode, just like in the Tundra. This truck is also pretty heavy. It weighs about 5,600 pounds, a little bit more than that. So it's not quite as heavy as that Tundra, but it's also pretty hefty with the hybrid system. Let me show you the normal mode four-wheel drive acceleration between the cones. All right, here I go, first test. First of all, the Ford was a little bit slower to make this run up the mountain in normal mode. And I think what was happening actually was that the tires allowed a little bit more slip and the traction control system came in and was a little bit more intrusive than in the Tundra. So that was quite interesting. Now let's see if I can stop, well, first of all in a straight line, and also what the distance is. So the Tundra stopped around here. It had about, that's where the nose of the Tundra was. And the Ford, about the same speed, from about 18 miles an hour. So this was 8, now 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. The Ford went about almost 19 feet further than the Tundra. So yeah, so it probably has to do with the compound. Maybe this one is a little bit more hard, a little bit more all-season, all-terrain related. So if you really want something all-terrain focused, but also good on the snow, maybe the Falken is a little bit better than this Pirelli. Okay, so now I have selected the deep snow mode. Let me show you. Right there. And it also pre-selects the rear locker for me, like I showed you. So I can actually deselect it to make it fair. Even though the Tundra TRD Off-Road does have a rear locking differential, it wasn't being used within that mode. So I just deselected it. So that's not part of the equation. Deep snow mode works similar to the Toyotas in the Ford here. It allowed a lot more wheel spin, but then these tires didn't quite have as much grip. So then I was just really going sideways and dancing all over the place. So I would keep the Ford in normal for this type of thing. This is a whole different animal, and I was saving it for last for a reason, because this is a proper off-road truck, the TRX, and the tires are quite aggressive. These are, of course, are 35s, Goodyear Wrangler Territory ATs, actually, not MTs. And they're mounted to an 18-inch wheel, but the lugs are a little bit more aggressive. There is also a little bit of siping. And this is a big question. Can the TRX do as good or better than a regular tire on a four-wheel drive truck? Let's figure it out. Here's what we have. First of all, it's always four-wheel drive auto. There is no two-wheel drive mode whatsoever. Four-wheel drive auto basically means It's primarily rear-wheel drive, but it actively is waiting and monitoring the conditions, and if it requires, it will also power the front axle. Of course, 4High and 4Low are available as well. It also has drive modes, so I do have auto that we'll be using first, and there's the snow mode as well. So I'll keep trying it. This truck is by far the heaviest. This truck weighs about 6,500 pounds almost, so it weighs almost 800 pounds more, 800 to 900 pounds more than the Ford, and about 700 pounds more than the Toyota. It also has the largest and the widest tires. So let me do the first test in four-wheel drive auto and auto mode for drive modes. Here I go. Four-wheel drive auto mode with automatic mode and traction control enabled. The traction control system really held this truck back, but it accelerated, I think, over the same distance in a similar time to the Tundra. That's just my seat of the pants. And then after I got going, then the supercharger came on, and then it kind of let me have more power, but the initial start was quite slow. Let's see how it does on braking and also in snow mode. Once again, I was able to hit it just right at 18 miles per hour, but look how much distance I have to the cone. Let me measure. 30. So the Tundra had about 8 feet left to the cone. This is 30, which is a drastic difference. And even though this truck is way heavier, I think that extra patch and maybe the more aggressive sipes on these tires, on the Goodyear Territories, I think they won the day as far as braking performance is concerned. I'm in four-wheel drive high, so I switched out of automatic. You can kind of tell that here. And then going to snow mode. It's just called snow, not deep snow. So let me see if it gives me a little bit more freedom to pull up the engine and actually spin the tires. Okay, I had to try something a little bit different. I actually used 3 different modes during this uphill test. I also, in the snow mode here in the TRX, I think it's the most appropriate mode for this condition because it also engaged the traction control a little bit more than the Toyota or the Ford. And then my final run, where you saw me coming towards the camera, I specifically manually disabled traction control system. And then the tires started clawing. And so I think as far as the factory snow mode, Ram TRX wins, especially with these tires. If you want a truck for snowy conditions, I guess the answer is a $77,000 Ram TRX. It just performed the best as far as acceleration and braking performance. But really it's about tires, and I think the Falken Wildpeak all-terrain tire actually was a good middle ground. As always, go back to TFLoffroad.com for all the latest news, views, and real-world snow blizzard reviews.